Creepers left to rise, buzz like crazy. Everybody's trying to stimulate it. Spiders in the mirror and feel this can't be right. Back to the scene of a Friday night, to a blessed collision still frozen tight. Spear drinkers, Cupid and the sound of her first chime. And why did you argue? We're dreaming of those eyes, the best part of my life. And when we make love, babe, don't make a sound, the clock won't turn around. Ooh,
hello my friends, welcome back for another vlog. I keep telling myself I'm gonna do themed vlogs, I'm gonna do like read these specific books. Like I really want to do another round of books I bought for their Step Backs reading vlog, but then it comes right down to it and I end up just wanting to just mood read. So today is actually Tuesday, not Monday, and I thought that I would give myself a day to kind of figure out what I wanted this vlog to be about. I don't know why I do this. I don't know that it even matters. I guess I like to have some direction in what I'm reading for my vlog, but I also like heavily want to mood read lately, so that's what I'm doing. So I did decide that this week I'm going to be focusing on e-arcs that I really need to get read, that I have from NetGalley. I have two specifically that are coming out soon that are going to be the focus for this week's vlog. So they are Love at First by Kate Clayborn, which I believe comes out February 23rd, and then the next one is The Devil in Her Bed by Kerrigan Byrne, which I think that comes out March 9th. So those are the two books that I for sure want to get read. They're books that I have been really anticipating and that I really want to read, and I just did not realize that we were getting so close to when they were released, so this is the week to read them. I was going to start this vlog yesterday, but I didn't, so I did finish one other arc that I'm going to just kind of tell you quickly about. I finished, it was, I need to find my Goodreads review. Okay, so it was Hit Me With Your Best Scott by Suzanne Enoch. So this is only the second book that I have read of Suzanne Enoch. I know that she writes a lot of Scottish romances, and I liked the first book of hers that I read. I gave it 3 stars. This book I also ended up giving 3 stars. This book actually comes out today, February 9th. So let me tell you what this is about really quickly. This is about Cull MacTaggart, who is a Scottish man, but he is also a Viscount because his mother was an English lady, and his mother lives in England, and in order for Cull to keep getting her financial support, he must marry an English woman before his sister does. So it is now his turn to marry, and he has to find a woman to marry, an English woman, right away. So he ends up meeting Persephone, who is an actress at this play one night. He is immediately taken with her, just completely struck and gone for her right off the bat. They have this really cute connection right away where she's very fiery and feisty, and she's a very strong woman, and he's just this huge Scottish guy who's very manly and masculine and, you know, loves fights and all these other things, and so he just wants her and has his set sight on her. His mother doesn't feel like she is the type of woman that he should marry, but she's the only one that he wants. Persephone, on the other hand, doesn't want to marry, period, the end, so they have to he has to try and win her desire to marry him. Also, he finds out a secret about Persephone, and that is putting her life at danger. People are trying to kill her, and so he ends up trying to protect her. And it's really, so this book was very fast-paced. The plot was like really, really fast. This read a little bit old-fashioned in a way, which I don't think is a bad thing. I don't say that as a bad thing at all, but it definitely has a lot of, like, it really reminded me of like 90s type of romances, which isn't bad, but it was very plot-centric, very stereotypical hero and heroine. The things that maybe, if you've read the genre a lot, you might feel like you've seen it 100 times maybe. I also don't necessarily love the way that Suzanne writes her Scottish brogue phonetically constantly. So all throughout the book, you're reading his Scottish brogue phonetically, which can be a little bit much sometimes. I didn't dislike this book, but it wasn't an all-time favorite. I gave it 3 stars. I think that if you like Scottish romances, and if you are okay with sort of an old school type of feel, not in terms of consent or anything like that, but just in how the hero and heroine interact, then you might like this book. But if you don't like those, then maybe pass on this one. So it wasn't anything that I necessarily think was bad, but it also wasn't anything that I feel like I need to gush and recommend, you know what I mean? 3 stars for that one. So, also quickly, because the next book comes out next week on Tuesday, I have it pre-ordered, I decided to reread this one. I actually was supposed to buddy read this with my dear friend Jen, but she already finished it because, again, I'm just in this giant mood read. Don't tell me what to read. I want to read whatever I want. So I decided it's time to start this so that I can finish it before the next one comes out, because that is definitely, that's probably what the next reading vlog you see from me is going to be, is me reading A Court of Silver Flames, because I have been a huge Sarah J. Maas fan forever. I first discovered A Court of Thorns and Roses, I think it was 2017, and was just immediately in love with it. And I've reread them several times. I've read all of her books, honestly. I just love and adore her. I think she's fantastic, and I am so hyped for that. So I'm excited to reread that. The last time I read that was it was December of 2019. That was the last book of the year I read that year, and it was so fun. I took it with us on vacation, and we were just in this wintry cabin, which we were pretty snowed in. We were way up on the mountain, and it was the last vacation that we've had because of COVID. And everybody was playing, we had new video games to play, and we couldn't really go anywhere because we were literally snowed in. We were way up on this mountain. The drive to get up there was treacherous. And we just played video games, watched movies, and I read that entire book in like a day, and it was so fun. So anyway, I love Sarah J. Maas. I know not everyone does, and that's fine if you don't, but I do. So, okay, let's talk about the book another book that I'm currently reading, I just started last night, is Love at First by Kate Clayborn. This is a contemporary romance, and I'm not 100% sure about what the overall plot is, other than I can tell you what I've read so far. So this we have, it starts out when our hero and heroine are young. He's like 15. He is going with his mom to see his uncle. It sounds like he's having some family trouble with his mom and dad. He goes to his uncle's apartment, who he didn't even know existed until this moment, to meet him. His uncle is very curt, and his mom says, okay, go wait outside. So Will, the hero, goes to wait outside. He's 15. He ends up getting pelted with, like, cherry tomatoes from a young girl who lives in an apartment above him, and he has this cute little meeting with her when she's actually trying to chase squirrels away from her tomatoes. And that's where we leave them at that point, with Will obviously having a little bit of trauma from what's going on with his parents and what happened with his uncle. There are some secrets there that aren't revealed right away. Will also was like a baseball player for high school and had been having some trouble with his vision, so at that point he decided to, take things seriously, so he gets to go wear glasses. And anyway, years pass, his uncle passes away, and he is left this apartment where his uncle lived. So he goes there, and he meets the girl who threw tomatoes at him again, and they feel this spark, this connection. That's where I'm at. This is the first full-length book of Kate Clayborn that I have read. I did read her winter Christmas novella that I liked. I thought it was really good. I really like her writing style. Her writing style is very readable, very compelling. It's really easy to get sucked into it. Like, I read a little bit this morning, and I didn't want to put it down and start working because I just wanted to keep reading it. That's how, it's a little bit funny, but it's also, it has these emotional undertones that you can tell are going to be hard-hitting. And it's just really cute so far. So I have high expectations for that. I think I'm going to love it. I hope. And then, of course, the Kerrigan Byrne, Devil in Her Bed. That is the one that I for sure also want to get to. So I'm not sure what else I'll include in this reading vlog because these are physical arcs. I can only read them at night. So the progress on this may be a little bit slower, but it's going to be good. So That was a lot of talking. I feel like I talked really fast. So that is the plan so far for this vlog. I'll take you along with me and I'll update you as I have more to update you about. So I'll see y'all soon. Hello, my friends. Hi, hello. How are you? How is this for a different angle? This is my dining room table. This is my family room. My kitchen's up there. I don't know. I just thought you might appreciate the house tour. I am facing a window, so the glare on my glasses is not great. Anyways, I just finished my workout. I am eating. I'm trying to hide the chip in my bowl. I'm eating oats with vegan protein powder, peanut butter, and my stevia sweetened chocolate chips, which are my favorite. So if you are not mixing peanut butter and chocolate chips into your oatmeal, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You're missing an opportunity for having some Monster Cookie oats. So, but I just wanted to give a little update on the reading that I've done so far. So to be quite honest, I have not read much more in Love at First by Kate Clayborn. I read probably like 5 or 6% more. Still really liking it. There has arisen a conflict, which I assumed would happen, that put the heroine and the hero sort of at odds with one another, in that the heroine is really in love with this apartment building, and Will, the hero, inherited it from his uncle, you know, and he wants to sort of like fix it up and rent it out to make some money on it because he's deeply in debt from his student loans to be a doctor, because he's a doctor. And Nora, I believe, is her name Nora? Why can't I remember names, y'all? I don't know why. Let's see if I can find it. I was right, it's Nora. So Nora also inherited her apartment from her grandmother, so she's got like a big emotional connection there, and she's like really young. The lighting in here is weird. I'm sorry for trying new things. She's got this really, not weird, but she's got like a lot of sentimental value in this apartment complex, and she doesn't want to see it just turned over to someone who's just gonna like make it a rental place, you know? So they have just recently become sort of adversaries where they're like butting heads, but they had this one really beautiful moment before they knew who they were to each other that was really sweet, and I really liked that. So again, like the writing is just wonderful. It's a very enjoyable read. Like Kate gets you really sucked into the story right away and really invested in the characters. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how it's all going to play out, because I'm kind of really interested in that. Anyways, it'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be good. And then the reason I didn't read much more of that is because I was on a live show last night with Jen from the Book Refuge, and I was reading A Touch of Ruin, the second book in the Touch of Darkness series, for our reading sprint we were doing for the Faro Feb. And Jessin was there, and she's like she wasn't really into it at the time. And she's like, this just feels like a lesser version of Lore Olympus, the webcomic. And so we were talking about it, and she basically was like pressuring me to go read it, like peer pressure. And so in a fun way, like she was sending me like screen caps and about how wonderfully sweet and adorable Hades was. So she sent it to me, and then I downloaded it, and then I stayed up all night reading it. So that's basically what I've been reading. I am completely invested in Lore Olympus now. It's basically the most wonderful thing ever. I've never really been a huge fan of I've always loved comic book art, but I've never really had a comic or a manga that I've read that I've just like been so obsessed with, you know? And I am really in love with this artist's style. I think it's just so beautiful, and I love watching it evolve week by week in this webtoon. So the story is so good. It's very witty. It's very sweet. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm the last one to this party, but it's freaking fantastic, and I love it. And then I've also been listening a little bit more to Akawar, A Court of Wings and Ruin. But, you know, we all know I love that and that I'm gonna love it, so I don't know that I even need to update you with that. Anyway, I did not get much reading done with my arcs because I became obsessed with Lore Olympus, but I am gonna read it today. I'm gonna read a lot. I'm gonna read a lot today. I promise, because I gotta get these two, I wanna for sure get these 2 arcs done for this video. So that means I've gotta read Love at First and The Devil in Her Bed. So this is me coming with my oatmeal and my chipped bowl. I'll hide it for you. Give you a little reading update. So hopefully I'll have more of a reading update next time. I will, I promise. I promise. See you later. Hello friends, here we have another vlog update. So, I got some book mail. I'm going to show you that first, and then we're going to talk about the books that I have read and that I am reading. So, I pre-ordered, well I didn't actually pre-order, but I ordered a finished copy of this by Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. It's so freaking gorgeous. Isn't that just like, oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I'm so happy to have this. I cannot wait to read this, honestly. I haven't read it yet. And I am just so freaking excited. I did not read the first one. I know that they're all interconnected with the Leveque family, but I have not read Rebel, which I think is the first one. But I just want to read this one right now. So I am not the type of person that feels the need to always read romance, especially historicals, in order. There are a few exceptions, but let me know if you think I need to read Rebel before I read this one, if you've read it. I'm so excited for that. And then I saw this new release, which I think has a stunning cover. I actually have never heard about this until I saw Jess from Peace Love Books post about it. So I'm super excited. This says it's The Spinster and the Rake by Eva Devon. I think the cover is literally gorgeous. The Spinster and the Rake sounds amazing. This says it's the marriage game is afoot in this clever blend of My Fair Lady meets Pride and Prejudice with a twist. I mean, do I need anything else than that? So I really want to read these. I think I keep, this reading vlog is a mess. It had a theme. It originally had a theme, and then I very much deviated from my theme. And here I am talking about, I would really like to do a reading vlog where I read new historical romance releases, and then the moment comes right down to it, and I'm like, TBR? Bye. Plans? Goodbye. Let's just mood read all the time. So that is what this reading vlog has turned into, is a big mood reading fiasco. So hopefully you're here for that. And then my sweet friend Jen from the Book Refuge sent me this copy because it has ponies on it. And she knows I love ponies. Look at that step back. Isn't that cool? I just am in love with it. Like, it's so 80s. It's just so 80s, and I just love it so much. Watch this be published in the 90s. How much do you want to bet? It could be. 1996. That seems a little Uncle Jesse for 1996. It's still pretty cool though. I love it. I'm excited. She says she has one too, so maybe we should buddy read it together. I don't even know what this is about. I think it's Kazi wants to go work out. It's time to go work out. But I wanted to update you first. Anyways, I'm not sure what it's about. I think it's an American historical. I'm guessing, yeah, because it says it's set in California. I wonder if this is even a historical. Texas Ranger. I used to watch Texas Ranger with my dad all the time when I was a girl. He loved that show. And then she also sent me this adorable card she sent me a Valentine's gift, and this unicorn bookmark, if you know me, you know I love unicorns. I love it so much. The card just got me. Like, I think that, like, written notes, words of affirmation is my love language, because I just love cards. I love cards, I love texts, I love messages, I love words that I can read. It's just the best. And then she got me this sketchbook. So I'm gonna see, maybe I will do some sketching and put that footage in here. Maybe? We'll see. I love sketchbooks, and this one is gorgeous, so thank you so much, Jen. So that is some fun mail. Let's talk about the books that I have read now. So, I decided to stop reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. It's back up on my shelves. Do you need the cover? Because I think we all know what it looks like. I got this far into it. I got 100 pages into it, and I was really, really liking it still, like always. I love this series. I am a Sarah J. Maas fan. I love her series so much, but it just felt like I just recently reread this a year ago, and so it was still so vivid in my brain that I wasn't sure. I don't know. I still could just get lost in this, but anyways, I decided to pause this. We'll see if I decide to pick it back up again anytime soon. I love the story so much, but I just decided to pause this, and honestly, I'm not a huge rereader. This is really the only series that I have reread in a very, very long time. I used to be a big rereader, like way back when I couldn't find books that I wanted to read. I would just reread books over and over and over again. That was like my favorite thing to do. But now I feel like there are so many books that I want to read that I have a hard time rereading and letting my brain be like, you know, it's not like you have 50 million other books you could be reading, you know? So I still love the story. It wasn't that it was bad at all. It was just that my brain was like, I'm ready for something new. Let's find something new. So since that was my audiobook I was listening to, I decided to change my audiobook and pick up Love Lettering by Kate Clayborn. I am also reading the physical arc. I'm reading an arc of Love at First by Kate Clayborn, which comes out pretty soon. And so I saw this was on Hoopla, and I just thought I'll just grab it and read that too. So I'm listening to that. I am a little over halfway through. Love Lettering is about Meg, who is she kind of has become really popular and kind of successful, she's become very successful and very popular for making like hand lettering for planners and things like that, especially among like famous people. So she ended up doing like a wedding invitation for this couple, and the funny thing about Meg is that she also is able to like read signs that are happening and sort of not really predict the future, but kind of see what is going to happen from these signs that she pieces together. And then she will put that into her lettering sometimes that she makes. So when she was doing this couple's wedding invitation, she was reading the signs about this couple that they were not going to have a successful marriage. And so she put those signs into their wedding announcement. A year passes. Their marriage didn't end up working, and the potential husband, Reed, comes to find Meg, and because he realized he's a numbers guy, I'm not entirely sure what his career is, I don't think Meg is either. He's a numbers guy on Wall Street, and he put the pattern together and saw the signs that she put into her lettering that said this marriage wasn't going to work out. So he comes to her and says, how did you know that wasn't going to happen? And they end up teaming up to try and launch Meg's business and help her. She's got like a tight deadline. She's got her friend and her roommate is kind of failing. That friendship is kind of failing, and she is trying to really make her career sort of even develop even further so she can live on her own in this expensive apartment in New York. And I listened to this yesterday while I clipped Kazi. I gave him a haircut yesterday. And I really was enjoying it. Like, I was really sucked into the story. The writing style is very easy, very readable. It's very fun. There's like this, not really snarky, but there's a sort of clever, witty internal dialogue that Meg has that is really fun. And I like that a lot. I am a little over halfway through. I think I'm at 60% right now. And I am I'm not sure that I'm loving it. It's definitely not a new favorite. It's moving pretty slowly, and by moving slowly, I mean the romance is moving pretty slowly. This feels a little bit women's fiction-y. Like, it definitely feels like the emphasis of this story is Meg, and obviously, but it's really her sort of dealing with a lot of, like, she's really struggling with feelings of loneliness, and the emotion of that is so visceral. Like, Kate writes that so clearly so that you're feeling her loneliness too. So this really feels a little bit melancholy, interspersed with some moments of fun banter. And I'm not sure if I love that. This is definitely an angsty book, I would say, but it's a different type of angst than what I typically love. I also am not 100% on board with the hero Reed. He's very hot and cold. I don't know. So it's not anything that I'm necessarily ready to gripe about. Like, it's not anything that would make me do a rant review, but it's also not anything that I would really gush about. Although I am interested enough to, obviously, to not DNF it, and I want to see what happens between these two, but I'm really hoping to love it, and I just don't yet. So, there's that update. I also am still reading Love at First, the arc, and I am enjoying this probably a little more, although I'm not as far along in this. I'm only like 40% into this. I'm reading it slowly because I'm reading it at night and it's taking me forever because I just keep falling asleep. But I am liking this. We're still sort of trying to figure out what happened with Will's past and what's happening with Nora and why she's so attached to this apartment building and what's going to happen between them. This is another one that is really just a slow moving plot. Like, there's a lot of characterization. Like, I feel like the characters are really well fleshed out. They're really very well imagined. They're very real. Their emotions especially are very visceral. Like, you can really feel their emotions. So I'm definitely interested in both of these, and I would say, almost for me, in my opinion, I think that especially Love Lettering reminds me very much of an adult type of Sarah Dessen novel. Like, it has that sort of layered commentary about overcoming, like, emotional issues in your life, and, you know, like, I know Sarah Dessen is the queen of coming of age, in my opinion. I haven't read one of her recent books that have done that well, but I feel like her earlier books really did that really well. And so I sort of feel like there's a similar path here, that Kate is trying to find out who she is and how she's going to be living alone since her best friend roommate is going to be moving out, and how she's going to deal with that loneliness. So it definitely has a bigger emphasis on, like, the women's fiction plot of it, which isn't bad. It's just not necessarily what I am wanting. So yeah, I'm not sure. I would be very surprised if either of these get a 5-star. So check in. I may eat my words, you know, like, I feel like there's still plenty of time for me to change my mind, but at this point I feel like I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll see. I'm still liking them both, but I don't know that they're 5-star reads for me. We'll see. So that is a very long reading update. It's Friday. I missed a lot of days. I didn't update you guys every single day. Still trying to figure out the best way to do vlogs, you know. I love vlogging. I feel like the pressure of doing a vlog every single day can be a little bit too much sometimes for me. But I also really enjoy checking in with you guys every day and taking you along with my life and talking about with you as I read when I'm reading. I have been reading some other things too in between when I've updated you. I read some Highlander romances, which I have a video coming for soon. And then I got deeply involved in Lore Olympus, the webtoon. That took up like 2 whole days of my life because I did nothing but binge 150 something episodes, and I am obsessed with that. Holy moly, was that ever good. I marked it on Goodreads because Goodreads had the first season on there, so I'm counting that as a book read. It will show up in my wrap-up, but wow. If you're looking for Hades and Persephone, like, I'm not really a big comic reader. I don't really love graphic novels a ton. I love the art. I am an artist, if you didn't know. I love the art so much, and that's part of the reason that I really have loved Lore Olympus, is that you get to see her art really evolve along from when she started to where she's at today. So that's been really cool, and the story is just so fun. Like, it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. Hades is such a cinnamon roll, and he is so tortured and angsty, and he's just so sweet for Persephone, and I feel like they handle sensitive topics really, really well. It's very clever, it's very funny, it's very cute, it's just perfection, I think, honestly. If you're looking for Hades and Persephone retelling, you gotta check that out. Everybody recommended that to me, and I started it because Jessen finally was like, hey, go read this, and I was like, okay, so I did. So, definitely going to finish Love Lettering for sure on audio. Definitely going to finish Love at First. And then hopefully in this vlog, hopefully, if I have enough time, I really want to pick up Devil in Her Bed and get that read for this vlog. We'll see if I have time for that or not. So that's all. That's all that's happening here. I'm about to go work out. I got my kombucha here. Let's see if Kazi will show you his new haircut. Kazi, come here. Come here. Come see me. Come here. Oh, good boy. He says hi. This is it. Kazi boy. Good boy. Look, he's so handsome. What's over there? What's over there, huh? You're a good boy, huh? I'll check in with y'all later.
You know, when this long night will fade away, and we go back to our old ways, two perfect strangers in disguise. When the sun is going to stretch its arms on the road, turn us again with his shrill call into perfect strangers in disguise. But until then, forget that crazy world. Yeah, until then.
Well, I just finished my workout and I have been listening to Love Lettering, and I wanted to talk a little bit about something that happened that I thought was really well done. I still don't know for sure what I'm going to rate this. I have about, let's see, I only have about 2 hours left, so I'm probably about 80% done. I think it was about a 10-hour audiobook. And the romance is definitely picking up more, but it's still very heavily about, I don't know, like, because it's really tough, I feel like, to differentiate between women's fiction and romance. Sometimes I feel like the line is a little blurry in this one because it is a romance for sure, but it sort of is on the line. I feel like it's on the line of a women's fiction, which is fine. And I don't know why I keep bringing that up, other than to say that I feel like there's a lot of discussion and a lot of talk, and things are happening in here that is beyond the romance. The romance is part of the plot, but the story itself is really more about Meg's journey. So the thing that I really appreciated with this book, though, was we had their first steamy scene, and there was a lot of, this is written in first person, and so we're having a lot of Meg's internal dialogue, and she's really nervous about what's going to happen, and she's really especially nervous about how Reed is going to react, because it's really hard for her to finish. It's hard for her to finish quickly. It takes her a while, and she's anxious about that. And there's this little moment that they have there that is so beautifully written, that is very much about, they have a communication, they have a little bit of a conversation about it, and she has put it so much ease because Reed is willing to take her direction. Reed is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that she finishes too, or first. And especially, I feel like it is especially impactful here because there's a very distinct line that she says in that, you know, men she'd been with in the past took it as like, if she took a long time to finish, they would take it personally. They would hold it against her. And she mentions it to Reed. She's like, it takes me a while. And they talk about it. They have a discussion. They have a little bit of an education, and they work it out, and it ends up beautiful. And I loved seeing that in here so much. There was so much respect for both people. It was just a really beautiful, it was just a beautifully well done scene. And I just loved seeing that in romance so much. I thought it was just wonderful. I loved it. And Reed is growing on me very much. He's definitely a hero that I can definitely get behind now. And not that I wasn't behind him earlier, but he was a little bit gruff and a little bit hard to sort of warm up to for me. But anyway, I don't know how I feel about this lighting. I'm in my bedroom. you know, because we were talking about stuff. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna finish this and then I'll update you once I do. So, I just finished love lettering, and honestly, I mostly just feel disappointed. I feel like the concept of this was really fun. I feel like the characters were interesting. I felt like the potential for the love story in this was really high to be sweet and magical and just really beautiful, but I felt like the romance almost felt like a side plot here. Like, it definitely didn't feel like it took center stage at all. And I felt like there was this really weird twist at the end that felt like out of place, and it seemed like it was like, I don't know, like it was trying to throw in a almost like a thriller element, and I don't know, like, I know so many people love this book, and I really was expecting to love it, but honestly, I mostly just feel unsatisfied and disappointed. Like, the parts we got of their romance was really, really sweet, but there just wasn't enough of it, and I don't know, yeah. So 3 stars for that one, because it did have some good parts, and I did enjoy it for the most part, but just really feel disappointed, honestly, and unsatisfied. That's honestly the biggest thing I can. So now I'm like super bummed and anxious to go back to Love at First, but I'm going to, because it's Friday night. I just finished working, and I'm gonna go read Love at First and hopefully finish that. I feel like this has been a bit of a disappointing reading week for me, honestly. I've had a lot of 3 stars and a 2 star, which I didn't talk about because it's for a different video, but yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. That was a little disappointing. So, and I also am like hesitant to talk about it because I feel like this author is so well loved. But it reminds me of I read one of her Christmas novellas, and I had high expectations for that, and that left me feeling the same way, and I wrote it off to it just being a novella. I just, it had potential, but it was ultimately unsatisfying, and yeah, so I have high hopes for Love at First, so I'm gonna go finish that. Man, I know I'm gonna love the Kerrigan Byrne. I know I'm gonna love it. I love Kerrigan Byrne, and my friend Jen from the Book Refuge has been wanting me to read this because she loved it so much. I think she said it's her favorite in this series. The Red Rogue series, I think is what it's called. I can't ever remember. Y'all know me. But part of me wants to just stop reading the Kate Claiborne. But I also feel like, I keep doing that this week. I have almost DNF'd a lot of books because I just haven't been loving them. So now I'm in a bad mood. Anyway, yeah. 3 stars. It was fine. It was definitely not anything special, I'm sorry. It just wasn't. I'll check in with you later. So I am reading Love at Last. I read about 15% more, and honestly, I am liking this one so much more than I liked Love Lettering. The characters in this are so much more, like, vulnerable and likable. And, I mean, characters don't always have to be likable for me to love them, but it definitely makes it easier to love them when you can see, I guess, like, some struggles that they've had, or how earnest like, when you get to see their feelings. And I think that's something that I do like better about this one, is that it's in third person, close third person, and so we're getting alternating viewpoints between the hero and the heroine, whereas in Love Lettering it was first person, and so you only had the heroine's point of view. And I love, love, love getting the hero's point of view, because he is so smitten with Nora, the heroine, and it's adorable. I don't know that I've told you much about this, but it's basically Will has inherited this apartment building from his uncle who he never met, and he's trying to fix it up to rent it out to people. He's a doctor, and Nora lives there and sort of owns the apartments they were her grandmother's. She owned them, so she has a lot of like emotional attachment there. It's basically a big community of older people, and they have this beautiful found family aspect there, and it's just so sweet and beautiful. And there is a caretaking scene that I just read, and it's so sweet because the hero's a doctor, and Nora got like a sinus infection because of some allergies she had. She just found out she was allergic to cats. And it's so sweet because like in his head, Will several times had this urge to call her baby. Like, I know, baby. And he kept telling himself in his head, like, don't do it, don't say it. And then he actually did say it, and it was the sweetest thing because like she just melted. It's so sweet. This book is just honestly everything I want in a contemporary romance. It's very swoony and romantic so far. There's a lot of feelings and chemistry between them. They're still sort of pushing down and trying to reject because they're kind of enemies. But there's also just like the whole community, the found family aspect is beautiful. The writing is funny and witty. It's very sweet. It's just, I'm really liking it a lot. So I'm a little bit over halfway through. I definitely feel like Kate Clayborne's romances are very slow moving, but I'm not minding it this time at all. I think this is going to be a winner. I think I'm going to love this. I am loving it so far. I'm completely hooked and invested, and it's just so fun. Like, I keep laughing and smiling. It's a very good one so far. It's just a happy, feel-good one. I like it a lot. Do you like my RBG sweatshirt? I got it from Hello Lovely Box. My code is in the description box if you ever want to pick up some cute romance merch. Well, I finished Love at First by Kate Clayborne, and I really loved this book. This was beautiful, honestly. It's so interesting to me reading love lettering, which has honestly been hyped up quite a lot by some friends and on Twitter and things like that. And I had very high expectations for that, and I felt like love lettering had the potential to really be great for me. But it ended up just falling short, you know? I talked about that earlier, but I feel like Love at First was just beautifully done, and so it was such a precious story. These two characters were so precious and so like endearing. They're so like, the whole concept of the book is them falling in love but being afraid to love, and really, you know, having some just things that people in everyday life would have struggles in their life, in their childhood, that maybe set them on a path that made them hesitant to love or to trust in love. And I think especially Will's story is especially heartbreaking, but it's not in any way that I would feel like I'd have to give you a trigger warning or anything. I feel like this was a perfect example of a book that is very ordinary concept, very ordinary plot, but just exceptional in execution and the way that it makes you feel. And I really, really loved it. I am, honestly, it's gonna be a favorite of the year, probably. It was just so beautiful. Like, I just can't get over how they loved each other, and, you know, the thing that was keeping them apart was largely issues that they were struggling with internally to overcome. Issues of trust from things that had happened in their life, or people that they had lost, or, you know, being afraid to really love. But at the same time, you could tell that these two, you know, like, you could tell that this was their person. They had met their person, and that there was I loved the way that it was described, of really finding that one person. And from the minute you meet them, you know that they're the one for you, and that the way you feel about this person is just different than you have about anyone else. And I feel like a lot of times, sometimes that feeling can just be attraction that never develops into love. And it was both of those here. Like, they had this spark, they had this attraction that just compelled them to be together, Every touch was magnetic. Everything was just spark, charged electricity. But it was also on such a deeper emotional level, too. It was just so beautiful. I loved it. I cannot wait for this to get published, because I can't wait to hear other people talking about it. And I just feel like this was a very... I mean, it still had, like, a lot of angst, because we're dealing with some issues of, it's not on page, but there's loss of parents, loss of grandparents, and really trying to find love and happiness in that. The found family aspect of this in this apartment community was so lovely. It was just all of these older people who lived in this apartment building and who had lived there for years. They were just absolutely adorable, and they were a family, It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing style. There were some moments that were just really funny. I felt like she balanced the sort of heaviness of them struggling to overcome issues that they had in their life, in their, I don't necessarily want to call it trauma, but things that they had either been raised up to, and they were trying to break free of that. That was balanced really well with moments of humor and levity, mostly in the characters' heads, their introspection about the situation they were in. It was so good. I honestly would highly recommend this book. It was a beautiful love story. It was very emotional, but not like in a way that breaks your heart. It was just like you could feel every emotion in this. It was just beautiful. It was one of the best ordinary love stories that I've ever read. Highly recommend picking this up when it comes out. This was really great. Loved it a lot. So, I'm going to end this reading vlog here. I didn't get to include The Devil in Her Bed by Kerrigan Byrne. I plan to pick that up right now, so you'll have my thoughts on that soon, but I'm sure I'm going to love it. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this vlog and for coming along with me, and I'm sorry that it was a little bit chaotic and directionless at first. Hopefully you made it this far so you could get to the final thoughts on this wonderful book. Just loved it so much. So thanks so much for watching, and if you have something you would like me to vlog about, a book you'd like me to vlog about, let me know, okay? And feel free to leave me a doggo emoji below for Cosmo. I will see you in my next video, my friends. Goodbye.